The Cleveland Browns are engulfed in turmoil. A storm brewing quietly over the past few weeks that has now reached a fever pitch. And the quarterback controversy that everyone predicted months ago is no longer speculation, it is the defining narrative of the season. A saga that has fans, media, and analysts across the league holding their breath. Watching the drama unfold with a mixture of anticipation, frustration, and awe. Because this isn't just about wins and losses anymore. It's about legacy, expectations, and the clash of personalities that defines the modern NFL. And at the center of it all stands a young man whose name has become synonymous with both hope and scrutiny. Shedeur Sanders, the son of Coach Prime, Dillon Sanders, whose very presence in Cleveland carries with it an aura of inevitability and high stakes. A spotlight so bright that no rookie could escape it. And yet here he sits, waiting, watching, learning, as the Browns stumble through another disappointing stretch, most recently suffering a 27-20 defeat at the hands of the New York Jets. A loss that felt like a microcosm of everything that has gone wrong in Cleveland over the past decade, where every decision is questioned, every play dissected, and every quarterback attempt is compared not only to past failures, but now to the colossal shadow of potential greatness sitting silently on the bench. And after the game, head coach Kevin Stefanski faced the media with a demeanor that tried to exude confidence and steadiness, stating clearly that Dillon Gabriel would remain the starting quarterback, that he believed in the process, that he trusted the development of his young six, and that the Browns would continue to build toward something greater, even if the results had not yet materialized. But in that moment, in that very room, those words rang hollow to a fan base desperate for action. A media landscape hungry for conflict, and analysts who could not ignore the storm that was gathering on the horizon. Because Jonathan Jones, one of the most respected voices in NFL reporting, did not hesitate to call out what many were already thinking, but too polite to say, that Shedeur Sanders would inevitably see the field, that the decision to delay his debut was a temporary measure, and that the world should prepare for the moment when the son of Dillon Sanders finally dons the Browns' uniform not as a bench warmer, but as the franchise quarterback. A revelation that sent shockwaves through Cleveland, reverberating across social media feeds, sports talk radio, and the conversations of fans in bars, living rooms, and tailgate lots alike, because the implications are enormous. Not just for this season, but for the trajectory of the franchise for years to come. And as we look at the roots of this saga, it's impossible to ignore how Cleveland arrived here. A city and a team desperate for stability at the quarterback position. A position that has been a revolving door for decades, where flip phones were still common and fans were already weary of broken promises when the Browns made the audacious decision to draft both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Two rookies with divergent paths, contrasting styles, and different levels of hype and expectation. Gabriel the polished, safe, technically sound option with a collegiate career that spanned UCF, Oklahoma, and Oregon, producing numbers that made scouts drool. While Sanders arrived with a legacy, a pedigree, and a natural magnetism, carrying not only his talent but the weight of a name synonymous with greatness, a quarterback molded under the tutelage of Dillon Sanders. A figure whose influence stretches beyond the X's and O's into the realm of culture, branding, and charisma. And initially, the Browns chose Gabriel as their starter, believing that giving the quieter, more reserved rookie a chance to acclimate without the intense glare of the national spotlight was the smartest course of action. A measured, cautious approach that made sense in theory. But football, as it always does, is judged not by intention, but by results. And the results have been less than inspiring. 2 wins and 7 losses. Autopsies conducted after every game. Analysts dissecting every throw, every missed opportunity, every questionable decision. And through it all, the whispers about Sanders grew louder with each passing Sunday, a crescendo of anticipation that could not be ignored. And even Gabriel himself, in moments of candid reflection, acknowledged the reality of the situation, a rare honesty from a rookie that suggested he understood the inevitability of change. that he grasped the transient nature of his role in the brewing storm, which only fueled the fire of speculation and made fans even more impatient. Because patience is a virtue rarely exercised by the Cleveland faithful, whose history has been punctuated by heartbreak, disappointment, and an endless parade of quarterback experiments that failed to deliver. And in the midst of this tension, analysts like Mary Kaycott from Cleveland.com urged caution, advocating for measured development, for giving Gabriel time to grow, pointing to incremental improvements in the offense, the strategic tweaks under offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, the glimpses of potential that suggested the young quarterback could evolve if nurtured properly. Yet her rational, analytical approach clashed with the emotional urgency of a fan base desperate for change, a fan base that has waited decades for hope, for a signal caller who can carry the team into contention. And the contrast between patience and pressure, theory and reality, loyalty and necessity, forms the core of this drama, because while Gabriel is still technically the starter, every delay, every failed opportunity, every loss increases the pressure on Stefanski to make a move. And Jonathan Jones's prediction looms over the entire franchise like a thundercloud, declaring that Sanders will take the reins, that the time for speculation is ending, that the Browns are on the brink of a transformation that could redefine the season and perhaps the future of the franchise. And the stakes are monumental, because this isn't just about football anymore. It's about managing a high-profile rookie with immense talent and expectation. It's about navigating the delicate balance of development, exposure, and confidence. It's about the scrutiny that comes from playing in a city that demands accountability and excellence. And it's about the inevitable comparisons that will follow. The shadow of a famous last name, amplifying every success, magnifying every failure. A narrative in which every pass, every decision, every outcome will be judged not only against the immediate context, but against the legend of Dillon Sanders. A figure whose influence is as pervasive as it is unavoidable, and yet the Browns pressed forward, managing to rookie quarterbacks, balancing growth with pressure, weighing short-term setbacks against long-term potential. Because in the NFL, opportunities are fleeting. Development happens under duress, and the crucible of real game experience is the ultimate test, where split-second decisions, crowd noise, pass rush, and relentless pressure expose both weaknesses and greatness. And now, with 8 games remaining in a season that has already slipped through their fingers, the Browns face a pivotal crossroads, a moment where the choices made will resonate far beyond the current campaign, where the decision to finally put Sanders on the field could ignite hope, galvanize a fan base, and provide clarity on the future of the franchise. And as we consider the scenarios, the possibilities are stark. Gabriel holds the starting job for the rest of the season, providing tape and development for off-season evaluation. Gabriel falters and Sanders is thrust into action with limited time, a trial by fire. Or, as Jonathan Jones predicts, Sanders assumes control sooner rather than later, becoming the centerpiece of the team's immediate and long-term strategy. And the implications are enormous because the Browns have invested heavily in both quarterbacks, their futures intertwined with draft capital, organizational direction, and fan expectations. And as the weeks pass, every practice, every snap, every play becomes a piece of the puzzle, each moment carrying weight far beyond the immediate, shaping narratives, defining careers, and testing the resolve of coaches, players, and fans alike. And when Sanders finally takes the field as Cleveland's starter, the eyes of the football world will be upon him. Cameras capturing the reactions of Dillon Sanders, commentators analyzing every throw, every movement, every decision, and the pressure will be immense. Because expectations are not merely about wins and losses, but about legacy, about proving doubters wrong, about embracing the role thrust upon him by heritage, talent, and circumstance. And as this drama unfolds, it becomes a microcosm of the NFL itself, a story of hope and disappointment, patience and urgency, loyalty and pragmatism, where every choice reverberates through the locker room, the front office, and the hearts of fans, where development is tested in the crucible of reality. and where the spotlight does not simply illuminate talent but exposes character, resilience, and the ability to thrive under pressure. And for the Browns, these remaining 8 games are more than a schedule, they are a stage. A proving ground, a narrative arc that will define the season and perhaps the franchise. As every loss magnifies the demand for change, every practice fuels speculation, and every whisper about Sanders grows louder, until finally, the inevitable moment arrives. When the backup becomes the starter, do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates.